And we're back, folks. This is BillMac here, and I'm releasing a audio clip today, typically out of the ordinary. Normally I film my videos and stuff, but I figured today I would just release one, with just a little bit of, variety. I'll call this one entitled, Talking with BillMac. Just about any random thing and about my life, and about what my feelings and opinions on stuff, and, just little things like that and events in life and whatnot, and, just many variety of different little things. So, I'll just start off and say, I'm very appreciative of every opportunity I have to do a video. I enjoy making videos. It has been a positive, it has a positive like therapy to me, a positive thing for me to be able to do, whether I get 1 view or 100 views or whatever the case may be. It's always been a wonderful thing, and I've learned doing these things. And I talked to my Team B friend, Bullet B, Brandon, and he and I started doing videos and stuff, and he used to do videos a long time ago, and with me, I basically had never really done single videos like this. Back when I was in my previous relationship with Sweet Pea, her and I did different videos at different times and talking about a relationship and whatnot. But as far as it being something, whether I have different topics, I've talked about shaking it off. I've talked about, just being positive. I've talked about different things, videos with my Team B friend Brandon, Bullet B, and he and I, made videos together over time, and it's just a great thing to know and being able to enjoy in life. The things that make you feel good. These videos, by doing them and just getting your feelings and thoughts and stuff out there, and, talking about subjects that could possibly, help somebody or just somebody to listen, and say, well, gee, that really does help, or really, that person feels like I do, is a big honor. So I'm very appreciative to everybody, that looks at my videos, that likes my videos, and hopefully if I can help in some way, that's what I try to do. I try to always pick little ideas up on subjects to talk about that ain't just, about random stuff sometimes, but it's about particular subjects. But as we say, like right now, I'm just going random, just talking with BillMac, that's what I think it is, and it's just me talking. So, I just hope you all enjoy it, and whatnot. A little bit about myself. I really don't go into detail on my videos too much, but I figured, doing audio clip and whatnot, that I would basically just, explain a little bit about my life, what growing up and, how I am, and, what I've been through is different experiences or changes in life, and, that way some of you can get to know the real side of who BillMac really is. I grew up with my brother and sister. My mother had passed away when I was 12 years old, and my grandmother, her mother, took us in and raised us like we were her own kids. Which, folks, was a very life-changing, very mature thing happened, and doing that and a change in my life, because growing up like that, when you lose your parents and your grandmother takes care of you, it causes you to kind of just, when you get older, you start thinking a lot more about things in depth rather than just kids things, and just growing up a lot. I say it's always you growing up a lot faster in life when you're around adults, and rather than being around a lot of around kids. Granted, there was a big difference start when I was raised up and being younger and a kid. We stayed in a neighborhood, a circle where there was a lot of neighborhood kids. We played Nintendo together, played baseball in the field, got sunburnt from playing, basketball, trading baseball cards, things like that as a kid that you do. And that was kind of the way it was when I was a young kid growing up. And then when we moved into here, there was a big difference because we were in town and, in the area which my grandma lived, there weren't a lot of kids there at all. I met my friend Paul. That we grew up as friends from when we moved in. He and I became, best friends growing up to a certain point, and that was a big difference in understanding because, when I was around my other friends, we could do a different variety of things. We could ride our bikes around the circle, race each Saturday, different little things like that. But then when you get in town here, there's half that stuff you can't do. I mean, I'm very fortunate that, we did little exciting things here. Now, I don't think that I say there's nothing to do. My grandma and grandpa, they got this go-kart, and we used to ride around the house with it and just enjoy it and have fun with it. And we'd take it to the old drag strip we used to have in Whiteville and run it up and down the track there. And we had a good time with it. Enjoyed it so much in playing, And my grandma, she got us we made a full court in the backyard. We had a couple basketball goals. I mean, we've had a trampoline that we all jumped on, and, a couple other of the neighborhood kids that come over. I mean, not like the ones we had when we were living with when my mom was living, but a few kids come over, but it was very enjoyable. I just enjoyed life then, and we just had bicycles, but we had to be very careful because it was nothing but a lot of we live right close to the street, so we couldn't really ride our bikes like we used to do. But we made the best of it what we could, and growing up, my grandma, she raised us up just like she did my mom and my aunt and my uncle. She was very wanting us to study, to do good in school, to get out, graduate, get that high school diploma, and try to be something, try to make a good life for ourselves. Just try to get out there and do the very best and be the very best that we could be, and you hear that a lot, but in my case, that's what it was with us. We basically tried to, I went through high school, made A's and B's. I stayed right on my studies and stuff, which basically getting into that, I was basically a person that was more or less home. I took care of my grandma, and I was there to help her inside. My brother, he was more of an outside person. He did stuff on the outside, and he went more places and hung out with other people and whatnot. My sister, we were, her and I, she was inside too, and she being a female was always with my grandma and stuff. And so, I'd get me video games, and I mean, the video game systems growing up. I'm very blessed. My mom and my grandma, they done really, really good with that. They were always trying to do it. I mean, I remember the first Atari set that we got. The Atari, I think it was I want to say it's a 4600 or it might be a 4800. I can't remember exactly the model, but that was the very first game system I remember us getting and playing Pole Position 2 and, just a lot of the games. And then, like with Jordan versus Bird and just all kinds of stuff, And then when we got our Nintendo and playing, I think the very first game other than Mario that came with it was, I believe it was Major League Baseball was the very first game I got with it because growing up I played baseball. My grandma, Mama had enrolled us. We played T-ball, and I played Little League, and my sister played Little League, and, that's what we did. We grew up and played baseball, just loved baseball, and, I got Major League Baseball and played that, and, just grew up over the years with game systems. We got the Super Nintendo. I had gotten a Sega Genesis, a Sega Saturn. I had the PlayStation 1, 2, 3. I had an Xbox, an Xbox 360, had a Wii, we were very blessed to have those kinds of games. And I know my grandma worked real hard to try to get for the very best for us that she could. For her to take care of us and raise us on her own was a big deal. And and I'm very thankful for that, because I wouldn't be the man today if I didn't learn from her the very things she taught me in life. I didn't realize the tidbits and watching her over time and listening to her and her talking business to me and say, okay, son, this is how you need to do this. This is how you need to do that. It wasn't me just getting told what to do, but it was helping me so that when I got older, I would understand these things, because you can't always be sure that you're going to find someone that's going to know how. You can't meet just a female and expect them to know this or know that. They may or may not know it, but you've got to yourself know these things. And she was very wise in her years, and she had a big impact on my life. She was a mother, a grandmother, a father. She was, like, to me, my best friend growing up. She was always there for me, even if I didn't have friends to talk to or to go to. If I needed to talk to her, she was always there. And her and I were so close, and we were so much alike. I guess that's why a lot of times her and I butted heads a lot, because, I kind of just listened to her and grew up, and I took a lot of her traits and characteristics, I believe, and we just butted heads a lot because we were both like kind of the same person. But growing up and doing that, like I said, I wasn't really an outgoing person. I was more of a laid back homebody, and I just took care of stuff at home. And by being home, I got my when I got my job, and which I love to death, mind you. It's a wonderful job. I've been doing it for 16 years now, and I wouldn't trade nothing else for it. I love my job. It's very self-fulfilling to me, and it makes me happy, And when I got my job, I was able to get me a cell phone for the first time, and, and a lot of people now are like, ooh, ooh, cell phones are everywhere. But mind you, back then in 2000, 2001, they weren't as accessible then as they were today. You can just walk into a dollar store and get a phone, but now used to, if you didn't have the credit, didn't have nothing, you had to pay deposits and get them, or they just flat out told you couldn't get one. So I got a cell phone, and I got when I first started making my payments on my car, and and I got my first computer, and trust me, folks, it was through Gateway. And if anybody has ever gotten a Gateway computer, trust me, that those things are real tough. It's like one thing is everything is hooked up together to one. You can't upgrade it for nothing. No matter what, it's just what it is, Gateway. But she helped me finance one, and I'd gotten it for school, and that's kind of where I first started trying to learn. And I didn't really take a class on computers, folks. I basically just messed around with it, tinkered with it, and what little bit I learned with it, I listened to other people advice, or just found out myself on how to do it. Nothing beats learning your own computer like you learning to do it. You had to learn the things you didn't want not to do to it, but for the most part, each time you did something, it was something you learned. So, I didn't go out. I didn't have a lot of friends visiting. So, I basically just met, people online. I met a bunch of friends. I had MySpace and stuff, which was awesome at the time. MySpace was really it. I met quite a few friends, quite a few girlfriends I met on there. Their search engine was just awesome. But, I met, like I said, I met a few of my few girlfriends that I dated from there, and being online, I dated a couple girls that were long distance. We had long distance relationships, and I know some people that don't understand that, like, my sister used to be one of them, didn't understand it. She's like, well, how do you know these people now? How do you get feelings for these people you don't know? And I'm like, trust me, you have to be on there to understand it and know it. It's a monster of its own. Online community is, meeting people is, and being in relationships, long distance and stuff. It's a whole different animal than just sitting down at a computer, and doing it, because there are real people on the other side of those screens that you're talking to as well. So it can become real. But I learned too, and changes, and that was another change too, and learning about being in relationships and whatnot. And I went through some rough ones, folks. I went through relationships. I mean, they were rough on me. I had learning curves left and right. I mean, I never felt more in my life being between getting lied to, getting cheated on, getting betrayed, getting stabbed in the back. I've had the ones that's used me, some that's cheated on me, and just, and some that have just literally broke me down hard. And I mean literally. But, that's just life. That's growing up, and that's learning, to be careful. It's each thing you're going through is a learning experience. Especially with relationships. I didn't get out much. I didn't date much. I mean, I could count maybe on my hand and maybe a finger or two about how many females that I've dated over my time. And I'm 36 years old, but I tried to be more careful of that. I tried to be real careful, and I learned something out of each breakup that happened. And I think we all do learn something from it. You got to, because if not, then all you're doing is, if you're not learning from your history, because sometimes they say, if you don't look back and learn from history, history tends to repeat itself if you're not careful and learn from it. And trust me, I tried my best to learn from it. But, I've dealt with so much here over time and emotions. I mean, I've been in deep depressions in relationships, not gonna lie to you. I'm very sensitive. I got a real big heart, a loving heart. And I just went through a lot of relationships, was hurt a lot. Been through changes in life. Like I said, from my mom passing away to my grandma raising us, and then my grandpa in 2003 passing away, and he was he was a big part of my life too growing up. He was like the daddy that we didn't have, and he took me places, and we used to go to Ed's Grill in Whiteville, and go to the racetrack. He'd take me to the racetrack and watch them race, and to the drag strip back when it used to be open and whatnot, and talk to me about vehicles and different little things in life, trying to show me stuff about the cars, which I really never understood. But he tried his best to do what he could do at an older age. But I'll always love my grandpa. He'll mean the world to me, and growing up with that, and then losing him, and then my niece and my nephew and my sister and my brother, I love them. And my niece and nephew, I've tried to be there for them just as much as I've have anybody else in my life. We've been there for each other ever since they've been born. I've almost been there. I've always said that I could. I've been there for them ever since they've been born. I've never had kids. I've loved to have had a child, and have a family, but, it remains to be seen. But, I love my niece and nephew like they were my own, and I try to treat them that way and show them love and whatnot that I have in my heart for them, and what I have for that, for others, and that was a big important thing, is learning that's, showing others love, being positive, thinking positive. That's why I do it in a lot of my videos. I'm always saying being positive, and, don't let stuff keep you down, and trying to be forward, and moving forward. And sometimes, I've been in that situation where I felt a little bit down, I get them ways, especially, when you're by yourself. I had a relationship with Sweet Pea for 4 years. Weren't always good, but weren't always bad. I felt the love from it, which I had always asked for. We were engaged for 2 years, which I'd always felt, wanted and had, and we were lived together. That was something as close to as being almost married as you possibly could be without actually getting a paper license for it. But, We lived the best that we could. It was just my relationship with Sweet Pea. It was the most complex, most real relationship that I had ever been in. I learned a lot, not only about, the relationship itself, but about myself. And, it was a learning experience for me, that I was in, and I improved in that. And, I try to this day that I know that I'm better off for it by being in it, but, me and Sweet Pea, after 4 years, it got to a point where we had to finally call it quits. And last year mutually agreed we weren't going to be together anymore. And it was a rough time for both of us. I know for me last year it was. I was really in a deep depression last year for a whole year of it, and it really got me down. I didn't know how to handle it. I'd never felt that head over heels in love with someone before for that period of time, giving all of my love, my sweat, my tears, everything that I poured into this relationship for it not to complete like it should have. And we ended up not being together. And I told Sweet Pea when I talked to her, I said, look, whether we're together or not, I said, if we were to ever, for some reason, it not work out, I said, I could not see myself being with anyone else because I've given you all of my heart, my soul, and everything else to go along with it. And, it hurt. And I just don't, and even now, and it being a year and a half later, I don't have that desire for a girlfriend. Why? I can't really give you an explanation, because it could be numerous things, or maybe just the one ain't come along, or maybe I'm just satisfied where I am that I don't really care for one. I mean, who knows? But, it's for a reason. And I dealt with that last year, and then here it comes 2015, and I'm like, okay, this is a new year, a new start. I'm going to have a good year this year. Last year was a bad year. I was depressed. 15 is going to be a good year for me. Well, it's sad that tragedy strikes again. On January 8th, my grandma passed away. Now, that was hard, folks. Losing my grandma was like losing everything that I had. My parent, my mom, my grandma, a father figure to me. She tried to be everything. And like I said, too, like a best friend. And that's separate than my best friend. Like my Team B best friend, Bullet B, which is Brandon. He's my best friend. We've been friends for a long time, about 6, 7, 8 years, I think, something like that. But, my best friend that way. But this is just something in my heart, that was near and dear. My grandma had been there for me through my breakups, through the achievements in my life, from my first, when I graduated high school, when I got my first car, my first job, my relationship, everything she was always there for. Even when stuff wasn't going the best, I could go to her, and that really depressed me. And I have really tried dealing with it, and I've tried to look at it in a positive light, and that's the way that I've been dealing with it now, as I've tried to keep a positive outlook and know that she's in a better off place and she's not hurting and sick no more. And that's kind of where I've looked. But there's been a lot of nights and times where I just miss her being here and miss going and being able to see her and just talk to her. And sometimes you feel burned down, and you just, I've always been able to talk to her, and with her not here now to be able to go to, you just feel kind of empty and alone, in some instances. And that's the sad thing, but I've always tried to tell my brother and sister, we got to continue to live our lives to the best that we can and do the things that we would know of that she would be proud of us, and just know that she's looking down on us and watching us. And we've got to do everything we can to make her proud of us and continue to be proud of us. But that was a rough time, though, in life. And, like dealing with at different points. I told Brandon earlier, he and I were talking, and I was like, it's just sad at some points. You feel down at some nights, and, it's points like that you really hate that, you really hate that she's not here. But, I've enjoyed my talks and hanging out with Bullet B, Team B. Me and Bullet B, Brandon, he and I have been friends for a long time, been through a lot of stuff, him being WWE, me WCW, we still, even though rival companies at one point, we still best friends. And we talk about he's big on Fords. I'm more of a Chevy guy, and it was just we've just been friends for so long, and I enjoy that. It's good to have a good friend that you can talk to and rely on and get some laughs out of. I mean, that's what life's all about. It's having somebody there that you can share with, that you ain't got to always be by yourself. That's one of the worst feelings in the world, is being by yourself. But when you got a good old friend that you can call and talk to and say, "Hey, what's up, dude? How's it going?" and just share the times with, that's always a great thing. But you just try to live your life and do the best that you can. But I've tried to be, to talk and listen. I mean, growing up, and talking to my friends online, it was funny. I reflect and remember back, as I say, when my talking, I talk so much now. People always say, "Geez, can't you get a breath? Why don't you take a breath? Do you ever breathe?" But it's just I have, so much coming out to say. But I remember I would listen to my friends, and they would talk to me, whether it's on the phone or Yahoo or Facebook or MySpace, whatever the situation was. And I'd be talking to them, and my grandma would come out there, and she'd always say, "What's up, Dr. Phil? Looks like you're trying to talk to somebody else today. You getting more advice, Dr. Phil?" And she'd just start laughing, and I'd start laughing. I said, "That ain't Dr. Phil. I'm just trying to listen to my friends and help them if I can, try to give them advice." I mean, some of them actually listen to it and like it. I said, that's just the way I've always been. So that's why I guess when I make my videos, it kind of makes me feel good in a way, Like I said earlier, if I can help somebody, I will. I'm there, and I'll do my best. So, in life, that's all you can do. You can either help people or you can hurt people. Like I've always said, the decision you make in life is yours. But as far as me, I have my things that I worry about, things that bother me that are on the mind, but, I'm not going to keep them up on my mind, because in life, it's going to turn out like it's going to turn out. However the Lord sees fit to me, I believe, is how your life's going to end up, how it's going to be. You can live it to the very best that you can, and do all that you can do. But there's only so much in life that you can do, and that's just what I'm going to try to do. But, I'm going to try to live my life and try to enjoy my life. And if I can continue making videos and whatnot to help others or talk, that's what I'm going to do. As I enjoy this, it makes me feel good. It's an outlet for me to be able to get out into others and speak. And, I appreciate everybody that watches my videos, that talks. Give me feedback if you want, questions you want, go right ahead. You can ask. Like I said, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook, and I have my YouTube. So I'll have all that down in the description. And my friend, teammate, Bullet B, Team B, his YouTube will be down at the bottom. You should go check his page out. He's real cool. He makes a ton of videos too, like I do. And we just enjoy talking and sharing our, different comments and things and whatnot about life and about different things. So you ought to check him out. He's a real cool channel. So I'm getting ready to wind this thing down for now. But I hope everyone's enjoyed it. And I look forward to making another either audio clip or another video in the upcoming days or weeks. So I just want to hope everyone takes care. And until next time, I hope everyone has a great day. And this is BillMac, and I am signing out.